Like and subscribe right now, or else this will be in your bed tonight. What is something that your parents did that you swore never to repeat to your own kids? Be unapproachable. Come talk to me anytime about anything. Everything can be fixed. My son hides things from his mom and waits until he can tell me because she won't respond appropriately. He lost a video game and was lying to her about having lost it, but was so scared that she would find out he was lying. He told me in the car when I picked him up, and I told her I needed to look for something of his that he wanted. All he ended up doing was having it wedged in his game case where he couldn't see it. My 6-year-old was giving himself anxiety because of a stupid Nintendo Switch game because his mom would have belittled and spanked him instead of helping look for it. It breaks my heart. Edit. We are divorced. Edit 2. I'm getting entirely too much advice from what are obviously children and wanting me to violate court orders or to report spankings as abuse. I'm also sorry some of you feel I'm a bad parent because I can't get sole custody and take away his mother's visitation. The real world is different from Reddit, folks. My mom at least had always done this. I would spend an hour looking for something until she got mad and said, I swear, if I find this you're in big trouble. The whole time she would yell at me on how stupid I was till she exploded when she found it, and eventually I would have to her apologize, which made her even worse. It may not seem like much, but after a while you learn to hide small and big struggles so she doesn't explode. Biggest fattest lie my mom ever told me. Always told me I could trust her with anything. The time came when I wanted to come out as bi. Told me that I was a sexual deviant and can take care of myself from now on since I was thinking of sex. Practically had to beg and kiss her feet to not kick me out. I said it was all a lie. Mind you, I was 17 at the time. The worst part is that she claimed that my sexuality depressed her because she wanted a daughter to f*** a man and have kids. I don't know if I'll ever f*** a man, nor do I want kids. Edit. Guys, I'm bisexual. All I'm saying is that I may or may not end up with a man. Refuse to admit I was wrong. The only semblance of an apology I've ever received from my mother was, I'm sorry you feel that way. I don't think she's ever actually apologized or taken blame for her actions in my 30-odd conscious years. If I ever outsmarted my mom, it was considered attitude. I get her thought process. She of course had been around longer than a 13-year-old. So clearly there's nothing I could say to her she didn't already know, and she obviously knows better than me. My mom also never apologized. If it ever became clear she was in the wrong, she'd laugh and say she didn't remember saying that, or I must have had some sort of attitude and that's why she acted upset. That is not the philosophy I will bring to my kids. It's gonna be a learning experience for the both of us. My dad would get mad at me sometimes too, and a lot of those times were warranted, and a lot were not. Anytime I proved him wrong, he'd apologize immediately and leave it at that. One time when I was around 15, we were both being dickheads and didn't speak for a night. In retrospect, I was the main dickhead, but he was a close second. He came in the next day and apologized anyway. He told me he was the adult in the situation and he hadn't been. He hated things being off with us, and he loved me. That is exactly how I hope to be with my kids. Really poor food choices. Same. I was raised on Hot Pockets and those instant lunch cups. Hey, don't you dare make fun of my cup noodles ever again. My mom, trailer trash, I'm sorry, used to go every day to the 7-Eleven and get me a lunch of powdered donuts, a pop, and some chips. Every so often a sandwich in those little plastic triangles, or a chocolate bar. I used to think it was cool, but even at 12, I knew something was up. I remember my teacher one time came up to me and said, "Don't you ever have anything healthy?" I laughed it off, but I felt like it was a shitty thing to do to a kid. Tell me I depress them when I confide in them. Sorry dude. When I came out about it, my mom blamed me and said, "Why are you doing this to me?" Like I made up 10+ years of depression to get at her or something. It's not a good feeling. And I get it. God, yeah. I love my mom, but whenever I tell her how shit I feel, she makes me feel awful for telling her. I always make the mistake of confiding in her and then regret it each time. Constantly comparing myself to other people's kids and belittling my own achievements. That's just the equivalent of comparing your parents' wages, house, or job with other kids' parents. My parents always did this to me and then got really offended if I tried to do it to them, like if I dared mention a friend going on vacation, they'd be super offended at the comparison when it wasn't even that, it really sucked. When I was little, when my dad was doing anything out in the yard, my brother and I would ask if we could help. The answer was always, you can help by staying out of the way. My kids are always allowed to help and so feel they can contribute, grow a sense of self-worth and an appreciation of group effort. This has been the hardest thing for me as a parent, but I'm working on it. My 4-year-old wants to help me do absolutely everything, but sometimes I just don't have the time to spend doing something in 30 minutes that should have taken 5. He loves helping with the laundry and dishes though. I'm just leery about cooking. Edit. I don't think I can reply to everyone, so I wanted to say thank you for providing me with some tips and tricks. My dude really enjoys baking, so we'll work more on that and the science behind it. That's his favorite. I recently purchased some donut pans, so we'll be doing that today. Edit 2. Check out our donuts. Both the 4-year-old and the 2-year-old were great helpers and expert decorators. Never actually saying I love you. Edit. Just so everyone knows, my parents are very supportive and I know they love me, they just lack a little in the showing emotions side of things. Yep, never once heard my parents say these words. I make sure my son knows I love him every single day. He's 20 and probably tired of it, but too bad. Lol. Teaching them by comparing them to their own better behaved / smarter siblings in a very condescending manner. OFC. Shit. I was compared to other people's kids. Insert other kid's name. Would never do that to their parent. Lecture. My mom could go on for hours for even small misbehaviors. Somehow, it usually looped around to how I didn't keep my room clean, even though the rest of the house was just as much of a mess or worse. When I need to have a stern or serious discussion with my kids, I force myself to make my point in 5 minutes or less. I've even said stuff like, look, this is taking way too long, just don't do disallowed thing again, okay? I also apologize if I yell as soon as I'm emotionally able to after an angry outburst. I don't remember mom ever doing that. I received so many lectures that went on for ages while just repeating the same things over and over again. It was so frustrating to hear something said for the 14th time, asked if I understood, and even when a yes answer was given, the lecture still continued. Minimize anything they pursue. Edit. Hey, thanks for the award, that's so kind. My mother would absolutely burn down any dream I had as a kid. Singer? Well, that's nice, but it will never happen. Gymnast? We can't afford that, but she never went without beer, weed, or smokes. I was 12, of course it wasn't gonna happen, but Jesus woman, a little support. Redo things they've done, because it's not the exact way I would have done it. My mom would refold the laundry, or remake my bed. Drove me nuts and made me feel like, why even bother trying? I sometimes wonder if I was affected by this same kind of thing. Not exactly the same, but essentially, when I was a kid, my mom would tell me to clean my room and make my bed. I'd do exactly that to the best of my ability, then I'd go get her so she could tell me if I was done. It almost never failed. She'd tell me that my room wasn't clean enough and my bed wasn't made enough. Then I was left to try to figure out what I was missing. I would try straightening things more, then get her again, and she'd tell me the room still wasn't clean enough and the bed not made enough. I would just feel baffled because I had no idea what more I could do before it was enough. I felt like there was some invisible mess that she could see, but somehow I couldn't. I couldn't understand what I was missing, and it would never be explained to me exactly what still needed to be straightened up, or what part of my bed still needed to be made. So now as an adult, in just about any context, I often have this underlying self-doubt that I'm missing something, somehow, and I can't trust myself to know when I've done enough. Get loaded in front of them. Growing up in a family of drunks has soured me for the most part to drinking even socially. I do partake occasionally but not often. Deep down I feel alcoholism is in my genetics, so I steer clear unless the occasion is perfect. Man, I'm struggling so much with this. Borderline alcoholic. Once I start, I find it very hard to stop. Day 5 of being sober. Edit. Wow guys. I woke up for work this morning and my inbox was chock full of supportive message. Some awards. Means a lot. I will not drink today. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments under the video, write something on this topic. And also do not forget to watch our other videos. Bye.